Shalom Aleichem, and welcome to Mochem Leira on my smicha. I'm sitting here in the Ohel, and it's very appropriate to learn and study teaching of the Rebbe before you go into the Ohel, after you go into the Ohel, and there's something that's very much connected to the parshas that we just learned in the parshas Shmini, and it's a couple other places in the Torah about the simonim of the kosher fish, the kosher animals, the kosher chayas. So there is a beautiful Rishima, Chaveres Chav Gimel, which summarizes beautifully the difference between behemoths, oifos, and dogim. Why by the animals, which includes chayas, over there you need shchita, and the level of shchita is when the sheichet shechted, it has to cut through the two pipes, the wind-pipe and the food pipe. And then there is oifos, birds. Over there, when the sheichet shechts, he still has to shecht it, but he doesn't have to shecht it as much as by a behemoth. It's enough to cut through one pipe. And then there is dogim, and then there is fish, where halachically you don't have to do anything to make it kosher, meaning if it has the simonim, as long just by taking it out of the water, it's already edible. You could do whatever you want, and it needs no shchita. So what are the significance, or why are the differences between these three things? Behemoths, oifos, and dogim. The Rebbe over there basically says, Navodas Hashem. Behema, the Gemara says in Chulin Daf Ayin Aleph, is nofish chiyusei, has a lot of life. And in Avodas Hashem it means that it's totally immersed in the Olam Hazeh, physical and coarse items. And the reason for that is because the behemoth was created from Afar, from earth. And Afar, earth, symbolizes chumrius and gashmis, materialistic things, and coarse items. So it symbolizes a person who's totally engrossed, involved in gashmis. Oif, birds. Chazal tell us that oif were created from rekak. Rekak is mud. Mud is a combination of afar, earth, and water. Now the afar part is taka, symbolizes earth. Gashmius, mayim, is a very refined thing. Mayim connects things and combines things that are dry and loose. If you add water to it, it makes it together. And mayim is a symbol of Torah, and therefore we find that birds are not so easy to become tummy, and Chazal tell us that birds, tahidim amarubim mitmeim, the kosher birds are many than the tamidik birds. As the Gemara says in Chulin, Daf Samach Gimel Amid Beis, tahidim ein mispar. There's almost an unlimited amount of kosher birds, whereas by behemoths it's very limited. So that is a type of person that has a combination of afar, which meaning he's involved in the gashmis, but he also has a level, he's connected somehow to mayim, to spirituality. Dogim, fish is totally immersed in water. It has no connection to dry land. It has no connection to earth. It has to do with waters, and what you mentioned earlier, water symbolizes edelkeit, refined. So much so that there is an opinion in the Chazal that say that the fish in the water do not create a chetzitza. It becomes completely bottled to the water. So these are three levels in people. There is a person that's completely immersed, like the behemoth, connected to Gashmis. And the truth is, even that person, once in a while, gets a desire to get out of it and try to connect to Ruchnius. However, it's in a much lower level. Then there is somebody to the other extreme who's completely refined, like the fish in the water, and he, from the other hand, has to get connected from time to time to Gashmis, because the fact that he's lacking on Gashmis is also something not good for it. Chazal tell us in the Medrash, in Shemais Rabbah Perik Mem Zayin, that Moshe Rabbeinu was feeling bad that for 40 days he didn't eat while he was up in the mountain, because even once the Eibush places us in this world, we have to have some form of connection to Gashmis. And therefore, because of these three different types of behaviors or different types of statuses of people, the way you connect them and the way you make them kosher are completely different. And the Rebbe says like this: the two pipes of the shchita that you have is the windpipe and the food pipe. The windpipe, the food pipe is symbolic for all gashmiistic things. And the windpipe, wind is something that you can't tap. Wind is more spiritual. It's the most spiritual of the four elements, even more spiritual than fire. You can't even see it. Fire you could see. So when you think about it, now let's discuss why by a behemoth you have to cut through both pipes, and by a oiv you only have to cut through one pipe, and by a fish you don't have to cut through anything. If somebody is so deep in Gashmis, like the behemoth, symbolic in the level of a behemoth, so for him to be able to connect, you got to make sure to cut through both. You got to make sure to cut through both side, and only if you cut through both of them, because by him everything is so rough and tough and so coarse. Whereas by a bird, because he already has a connection to spirituality, because as I mentioned before, bird is created with partial water, so we know that he's on the right path. So you only have to cut through one. And mashenkin rice of fishes which completely engrossed in water, they don't need anything, because they're not even able to survive out of the water. They are totally connected with the water. So for them, just taking them out makes them kosher to be